Done. Come on. Where are you? No sound effect today? Really? Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in. Normally you would hear a gong, but for some reason my computer is giving me great difficulty. My name is Ted. I am joined with my partner,
Papo. Welcome back.
Welcome back indeed. Listen, a little bit of housekeeping here before we get started. First things first, this is an opinion show. Basically, it's just two wrestling nerds talking about something we love and giving our opinions. This isn't the gospel truth, and we don't have insider information, or do we? Wink, wink.
Dun,
Anyway.
dun, dun.
We should have like the Law and Order. Dun, dun. It's funny, I have that as a text message on my other phone before I switched phones. And anytime I would get a text message, if I was in public, people were like, what? Fuck? Somebody's watching Law and Order? It's hilarious. But yes,
awesome.
This is an opinion show. We share opinions about something that we love oh so very much. We love ourselves some pro wrestling, sports entertainment, whatever the hell you want to call it. But basically, it's an opinion show that we for you each and every week, usually every Wednesday. And we want your feedback. The reason why we want your feedback is we want everybody on the internet to see this. We want it on Facebook. We want it on YouTube and all the other things that the kids are using nowadays. We want some exposure. The best way to do that is to like, comment, subscribe, share your opinion. Also, video responses. If you like what we're doing here, give us a video response. Tell us what you think. Suggestions, comments, anything like that. The more the merrier, and it definitely helps. There's some math involved. I don't quite understand it. I went to public school. I can barely count. That being said, we have a Facebook page, which is going to be posted in the link below, right in the description box. You go there. We're going to have a topic up every week. We got one for this week, which we'll get to at the end of the video, so stay tuned. Hang in there and enjoy with us all sorts of wrestling goodness. Papo, how excited are you for this week, and more importantly, the time frame leading up to SummerSlam?
Yo, intensity is growing everywhere, especially going with Slam. Let me tell you, I am so excited for this main event, in which we'll talk about later on. Let's see who's going to become a victim at SummerSlam. I will definitely touch around Ted. I just wanted to go ahead and comment that we took some pictures for you guys, so you know who we are. You get to see us just having fun over at the Civic Center down in Port St. Lucie. Like, comment. We know we love you. So let's go get rolling along. Ted, if you do the honors.
I will, but as a caveat to that, it's funny you mentioned the pictures. You know what just occurred to me? One picture we didn't take. We didn't take a Bo Leave picture, and I'm very much regretting that. I'm sure you are as well, given how much of a huge fan of Bo Dallas you are.
Oh, yes.
Oh, man. I'm dropping everything today. Okay. As I move in and out of frame, there's my beautiful smiling face. We got an opener. It just seems to be, as every week, and this is the Raw episode this past Monday, August 4th, 2014, we got an opening segment. It seems to be that pretty much every Raw opens with an opening segment. That's redundant. With Triple H and all his boys in black coming out. And you know what? I would have a problem with it, except it's just so damn entertaining. Did you enjoy this opening segment as much as I did?
Yes, I did. Let me tell you, for $9.99, you can get on. Let me let you know that Triple H made that perfectly clear, which I thought it was hilarious, and he had the crowd saying,
$9.99.
And how much was that, Ted?
Oh yeah, $9.99. Yeah, that was hilarious, right? My wife was watching it with me, and she's like, she was basically insinuating, like, why are they doing that? And in my mind, I'm like, well, he's just drilling it into their heads. And we actually did the math, and for people out there watching, if you're considering getting the WWE Network, which I talked to one of our subscribers recently, and he asked me if it's worth it. I don't know about you, but I'm going to tell you why I think it's worth it, and I have a feeling you're going to agree with me, Papo. First of all, let's say every pay-per-view is about $50, right? And let's say you want to watch every pay-per-view, and you don't want to be one of those shady people that views them online without actually paying for it. You want to contribute. You want to be a good, upstanding citizen. You want to be a real American. It's $9.99. The numbers actually come out, if you round down to 50, and again, forgive me, I went to public school, the numbers come out to something around like $400 a year. So if you buy the network strictly for the pay-per-views alone, it's like 500. I don't know. My math sucks. Long and the short of it is you're going to be paying way less for the pay-per-views. Okay, $9.99 a month. And just to give you an idea, I'm only plugging it because I love it so much. I'd love for them to give us a sponsorship. We don't have one yet. Please. But basically, it's all the pay-per-views ever made. ECW, WCW, WWE. You've got pretty much every SmackDown and Raw, and when they upload the new ones, they're about a month behind. You've got Legends House, which, Papo, have you seen Legends House?
I only briefly through it this time. I plan on watching it more. I'm telling you, I'm a big Mean Gene fan, and I'm going to go back to watching it. Skimmed through 2 or 3 episodes, and it is very entertaining. Recommend you check it out.
Oh, hell yeah. Legends House is amazing. Mean Gene steals the show. If you watch it, you're going to love it. The least favorite person you'll have is probably Tony Atlas, and he just comes across as a really, really annoying person. But there's Legends House. There's my new favorite, Total Divas, to which I am oddly hooked, line and sinker. I'm addicted. Every Thursday, I gotta have me some Total Divas. It's one of the high points of my week. Not this high point they were doing right now, but it's one of. Also, we've got old Madison Square Garden matches going back to the late 70s, which is really cool. You get to see guys like
Jimmy Superfly Snuka.
Hell yeah. Hell yeah. You get to see Wahoo McDaniel. You get to see Chief J Strongbow. You get to see
Big John Studd.
Big fucking John Studd. Hell yeah. Climbing over that top rope, pissing Andre off. Yeah, everybody. Go back and watch it. It's amazing. Plus, you have something that I have been watching religiously. All the Clash of the Champions. All of them. It's amazing. You have ECW television, which is bittersweet because a lot of times they don't use the original music, but that's because good old Paul Lee didn't have the rights to those songs, and it's not like they can pay for them and play them. Let's see, what else? There's a couple of specials. The Ultimate Warrior special. Did you see that one?
Not yet. I'm a bit leery on watching it since he did just pass. I'm a bit leery to watch it. I've been just like off. And when I heard he passed, so I'm getting all choked up right now thinking. Just something that I gotta just.
Yeah, that was really rough, and it's almost as if like the hate was keeping him alive, and then like once he got that closure and that love from the fans and just the realization that the other guys in the locker room were kind of being dicks to him, and they kind of mended bridges. Once that hate was gone, it was really sad that he died. Really, really, really sad. Ultimate Warrior, one of my all-time favorites. He's in it. They have a kick-ass match on that documentary with him and Ted DiBiase in Japan, which is awesome. There's a Daniel Bryan special. They're doing all the post shows. Everything and anything you could think of professional wrestling, specifically things that are owned by the WWE. Oh, there's World Class Championship Wrestling. There's not the UWF. Early Memphis stuff. There's no AWA, but that's going to be on there. We got a whole bunch of biographies. We got Dusty Rhodes. We got Ricky Steamboat. We got Legion of Doom. All sorts of documentaries are all really, really good. And then, of course, we have shows like WWE Countdown, where they basically make a top 10 list, and you go to WWE.com, you vote, they rate your votings, and then they tell you what the top 10 list. They got a WrestleMania Rewind, which is really cool. They go back and they basically take a particular match, and they give you some of the history and backstory, basically leading up to that match, and then you get the match. It's awesome. Peoples, if you're thinking about buying the WWE Network, and you can afford $9.99, as my boy JBL pointed out, which was hilarious because we'll get into that later. If you can afford $10 a month with a 6-month commitment, do it. Just do it. Because I don't know about you, but I cut my cable. And everything I do is on Netflix, Hulu, and the WWE Network. So if you can do it, do it. It's definitely worth it. We got this show to talk about. How funny was it that Triple H got the crowd to join in with him who's the guy that sold the OxyClean on television? Billy Mays. It was almost like an infomercial, but wait, there's more, and it's only $9.99, and the crowd was repeating it. It's cool, right?
That was pretty cool. He got the crowd going with the $9.99. Even my son asked, why is he doing that? I'm like, that's free advertising, you butthead. He's going to plug it in wherever he can plug it in. And if he doesn't have to pay for it, that's even better.
Yeah, and it's totally worth it, as we previously discussed. And it was really, really funny because he did it the first time, and then I think he did it like 4 or 5 times as he's laying out the matches for SummerSlam. And he kept doing that infomercial shtick. It's only $9.99. It got to the point where I felt he should just stop saying it and let the crowd say it. You know, like, and it's only, and hold the mic up and let them say $9.99. They could start every week with that, and I'm okay. I only have one suggestion, WWE Network, and if you're listening, which you may or may not be, 2 things. Number 1, get each week's Raw and SmackDown on the network. I don't want to wait a month to watch it. I don't want to have to go to a friend's house to watch it. I want to be able to watch it on air, on live, on the network. So please, figure out what's going on with NBC Universal / Comcast, whatever corporate, mega corporation they got going over there with their TV deal. Figure that out. Also, WWE Studios. Have you ever watched any of these WWE Studios movies?
Yes, I have. But some of them are actually pretty well.
Some of them are, right? See No Evil was pretty damn good. Some of them are really bad, though. I kind of feel like, and let me know if you feel this way, and if you feel this way as well, or if you differ in opinion from me, anything we talk about, please comment down below, and we'll mention this throughout the video. I feel like they should take all the money and effort that they're doing that and just put that into the network, right? Just for creating original content. Because I just feel like you have all this money making movies that are going straight to DVD and Blu-ray that are really not going to be making money in theaters like traditional movies do. Just stop it. More wrestling, please. So, Triple H is patting himself on the back. Plug in the network. We got a few cards here. He basically says that, in his opinion, this could be the biggest card in SummerSlam history. Kind of a bold claim. I'm not going to argue with him because that's his opinion. We have our opinion. It's an opinion show. But wrestling is one of those things like music, movies, television. It's totally subjective. What I might love, somebody else might not love. So it really depends on your particular perspective. But some of the matches, just real quick, I wanted to run through them just so you, the viewer, are aware of this. And by the way, we do this show. A lot of people I know that watch this show do so because they don't have television, or do so because they just don't have the time to put in 3 hours a week. We do. We have some social life, but not much. We have enough to dedicate 3 hours a night every Monday to this show. We watch it for you. It's a burden. It's a labor of love. Please like, comment, subscribe. Tell us about it. So here are the matches. We've got Bray Wyatt versus Y2J, which we'll actually get into that in a few moments because there was an added stipulation bonus. We got Seth Rollins versus Dean Ambrose, and they set up a series of matches for this show, which we'll get into in a few moments. We have Stephanie McMahon versus Brie Bella. One that I'm very excited about. Are you excited about this, Papo?
I am a bit excited now. I want to see her. I want to see Stephanie McMahon get her face kicked in. But I'll go ahead and I'll comment on that as we go on towards the end of the show.
Fair enough, fair enough. We also got the franchise, John Cena versus Brock Lesnar, which we're going to get into that too. That's what I'm super excited about. I don't know about you. And we got Randy Orton versus Roman Reigns. Really excited about that one. That's going to be very interesting. And at the end of this, Triple H is going over this message. Roman Reigns comes in and says, hey, I took everything Randy Orton had last week, and I'm still standing. I'm going to kick his ass. He ain't got nothing on me. So, of course, what do? They book a match. Bam. Roman Reigns. Seriously. And it's Roman Reigns versus Kane. Now, I said last week, and I believe even the week before that there are certain guys that can work with anybody. A perfect example of this would be Shawn Michaels, right? Shawn Michaels, the old adage is Shawn Michaels could have a match with a broomstick and somehow get the broomstick over. Roman Reigns is not one of these guys. No. Roman Reigns is a guy, nor is Kane. These are guys that, and again, my opinion, it's Opinion Wrestling Show, that they basically are guys that other people work around, and it's not so much that they're limited, but that's just kind of how their style is. I take back what I said last week. This match was pretty damn good, and I don't know whether it was because of the spots with all the weapons, but I actually found it really entertaining. So, what were your overall thoughts about this match?
Well, let me tell you right now, after that promo with Triple H and then inducted match with Kane and my boy, they put on an excellent last standing match. That is awesome. And for it to be a match, I got respect for Triple H for that. Quick on the draw. Go ahead, Triple H, do your thing. But the ring, outside the ring, weapons, and it had me, and what we'll get into in just another moment. Fourth, it was exciting. It was fresh. An impromptu match to that caliber, that to me was pay-per-view material.
And you know what?
And
I'm in. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Oh no, I was just going to say I'm in complete agreement with you, right? That could have easily been a pay-per-view match, just based on how good that match was. It almost like they gave it away for free, and that could be seen as a detriment. But I'd like you to finish your thoughts, though. I'm curious what you think.
Yeah, I was just going to wrap it up right now by just saying that my boy Reigns won the last standing match, and let me tell you, it was very entertaining. Very entertaining, and definitely got the blood pumping for the rest of Raw. What are your opinions on the match?
Oh man, my opinion, it's funny, my notes go as follows. Stairs, kendo stick, more stairs. But this match was really awesome, right? This was definitely pay-per-view quality match. This could have even been the main event for Raw. So the fact that we got this as an opener, as you mentioned, it was super impromptu, but it was so damn good, right? Basically, Roman Reigns just came out just dominating, right? He just owned Kane, and I'm like, yeah. And it's funny because I'm watching this match the whole time, and I'm waiting for some schmozzy deals, like, right? I'm waiting for some interference. I'm waiting for some underhanded tactics. Nope, he beats Kane clean, absolutely squeaky clean. So basically, and I'm just kind of going over my notes here. Here's essentially what happened. So he's dominating early on. Of course, stairs, kendo stick, more stairs. Kane at one point sets up and this must have been during a commercial break, sets up a chair in one of the corners in between the top and the middle turnbuckle, and basically goes to throw Roman Reigns head first, and of course Roman Reigns reverses. Kane goes heads first, and then it starts to balance out because Up until this point, although in the beginning Roman Reigns had the advantage, basically Kane was able to get up and kind of get ahead. But then this was kind of like the even out spot, right? This is the part of the match where they were both equally damaged, equally hurt, and neither one of them had a particular advantage. One of the cool things is they set up stairs on the ramp, thrown into the stairs. Reigns brings a table into the ring, and I don't know about you, but every time I see a table into the ring, I think about the Dudleys. I'm thinking about getting some wood. I'm thinking about some Devon. Get the tables. Do you feel that way?
Always. They were famous for that. I mean, starting back ECW, working their way to WTW. Devon! Get tables! I always waited for it. It was like choice, just so choice. And they always put it on. And again, I heard that the Dudley Boys are back together.
Hey, don't you tease me.
That's the show.
Don't you tease me. Don't play with my emotions like that. We talk about that Team 3D, buddy. Anyway, we got a couple of other cool things, too. So he sets up the table. We're thinking of the Team 3D. He puts the table. So Reigns puts the table in the ring, and Kane goes in the ring, and he sets up the table. Reigns goes to one corner, goes for the Superman punch, and an awesome setup. Kane reverses the punch, catches him with the choke slams his ass through the table, super brutal. And I'm thinking he's not getting up, right? Like, part of me is like, he's not getting up. Part of me is like, man, I hope he gets up. This will be amazing. He gets choke slammed through the table. He gets up at the count of 9.99. You like that? Remember, peoples, 9.99. If you can see it with my oh so expensive webcam. So basically, where were we? He gets up at the count of 9. Okay, Kane goes for a tombstone. He puts the chair in the middle of the ring on the mat, and he goes to do a tombstone on the chair. And I'm thinking, like, Roman Reigns is gonna die. That's what's gonna happen. And then, of course, he gets him up, and then Roman Reigns kind of slides over his shoulder, DDT right on the chair. Super brutal. Goes for the Superman count. A Superman punch. Oddly enough, he gets Kane with the Superman punch, and then referee Mike Chioda, at least I believe it was Mike Chioda, could be wrong. He's been slipping recently. I've been pointing out his flaws lately in the past couple weeks. Mike Chioda, I'm very disappointed in you. Very disappointed in you.
Bad.
Exactly. Learn something from the refs in NXT. They don't fuck up at all. So basically, DDT to the chair, Superman punch. Rep doesn't count while Kane is down. I don't know why. And it didn't even play into the story. Like, I guess he just forgot and thought he was in a regular match. Reigns goes for a spear. Kane reverses it. What was it? Kane goes to choke slam him, and Reigns is like, no, screw that, buddy. Gets down for the choke slam, runs the ropes, hits him with a spear. Kane is unable to answer a 10 count. Ladies and gentlemen, after the match, Kane gave up his match, which means, please, baby Jesus, we might see the end of Demon Kane. What are your thoughts on that?
That's your boy.
Hey,
That's
my fucking boy. Hell
No.
no way, bro. I like Kane like mid-late 2000s. None of this Kane or Kane, Glenn Jacobs.
The big red machine.
Hell yeah. And for those of you who don't know why we have beef with this particular version of Kane, is that you have to remember, on the first Hell in the Cell match, which is kind of still to this day, excluding all the great ones that came after it, that's still kind of like the measuring stick for Hell in a Cell. It's Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, and they put on a hell of a match. For just, I believe it was months leading up to this. Paul Bearer keeps saying, stuff like, "Oh, Undertaker, Kane is alive." alive! It is coming! We keep hearing about Kane. We're hearing about Kane over and over again. So much so that we're like, when is this guy coming? Who is this guy? And when he shows up, we get a, that must be Kane, out of Vince McMahon. And then, oh, yes! It was amazing. That was awesome. And then finally, The Undertaker had an equal that was a guy who was just as big, who was just as strong, and who was just as agile. And then over the years...
And we found out just as ugly.
Just as ugly. Maybe even uglier. Maybe. I don't know. But then, of course, we had Kane with the voice box. And what was it? Oh, what did The Rock do? My name is Kane. I am a Rudy Poo. You know, stuff like that. And then he ditches the voice box, takes off the mask, and I think he was either wrestling with X-Pac in a tag team or RVD in a tag team. I really can't remember. That kind of blurs together in my mind. Ladies and gentlemen.
X-Pac.
What was it, X-Pac? All right, cool. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the point is there have been many versions of the Kane character. Actually, no, maybe like 3. This last one, no, we'll count 4, because I'm going to say Corporate Kane. Right, Corporate Kane was cool. I actually like Corporate Kane. Corporate Kane worked, but when they tried to do the Demon Kane thing, it just didn't work. Because we've been there, we've done that, and there was nothing different about this version of Kane. It's not a different outfit. In fact, he went to the same outfit and mask when he was part of one of my favorite tag teams of all time, Team Hell No, where he was the tag team champions and Daniel Bryan was the tag team champions. Not with them together, individually.
Yeah.
And of course, we got some of the best television with the anger management and Dr. Shelby. I don't know about you, man, but for like a good year, that was the most entertaining shit out of Kane and Daniel Bryan. I love the hell out of it.
Oh, that was awesome. Definitely awesome.
So, ladies and gentlemen, long and the short of it is, this particular iteration of Kane is not doing it for me. Okay? Not doing it. But Kane takes off his mask, and we don't even get an explanation. Right? It's just like, oh my God, Kane took off his mask. Oh. But
and
nonetheless, and oh right, because the hair, right? Because he's bald or has it really short, and then he has the hair sewn into the mask, which my wife is convinced it's horsehair. I don't know. I'm not an equestrian. So moving on though, we got something that I've always been impressed with, and this is the WWE pay-per-view hype videos, right? Because that's the one thing that WWE, and not the one thing, but that's something that they're really good at, which is making these promos that hype up a pay-per-view. What were your thoughts on this video? I'm curious.
They actually did a really good job with this. I mean, it definitely had my attention for a hot minute, where Brock Lesnar is talking his hype and have Cena talking his hype, and then going back and forth. I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. I mean, it's so, how should I say, only in America, if you get that reference.
Yeah.
Don King.
Is he still around? Is he still alive? If he is, comment down below. Tell if he's still alive. But yeah, man, I loved it. I loved the hell out of it, right? Because WWE, say whatever you want to say about their week-to-week in-ring product, their writing or their booking, if you will. But the fact of the matter is, they make really good video packages. I mean, that's just a thing that they do better than anybody else. I've never seen anything in any form of media come close to that. And one of the things that I was really impressed about this is that they really, they did it like a big fight feel, almost like a UFC video package, right? In the sense that it played, it played to like all of Brock Lesnar's verbally, because he's not a guy you put a mic in his hands and you tell him to go. That's why he has the advocate. That's why he has the one behind the one and 21 and 1. The one behind the one in the first annual Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal. The voice of the voiceless, formerly, Paul E. Dangerously, or Paul Heyman, as he is known currently, But that's why he has that mouthpiece, right? Some guys just aren't good talkers. But he's not a guy that you give a live mic to. What he does really well is that he's able to speak calmly about how he's going to just beat you to death, right? In a way that's very, very intimidating and very, very scary. Almost like sociopathic, like just void of any of emotion. And here's a direct quote. He says, talking about John Cena, he says, quote, "I'm going to leave him in a pile of blood and urine and vomit." I don't know about you, but I don't know about you, but I kind of want to see that, right? Just because I don't know if that's something that they've ever done before. I know that one of the last times that they squared off, that was like an internet joke because he said the only thing that's going to be running is John Cena's piss down his leg or whatever. But yeah, this really plays to his strengths where he just talks about his qualifications as being a BMF, a bad motherfucker. And he just, scary. I mean, right? I'm not alone here, am I?
No, you're not. Definitely in agreement.
All right. So basically, the video was cool. It was about 2 minutes or so. That's all I have to say about that. Any thoughts before I get this ball rolling?
Let's keep it rolling. Let's keep it rolling.
Here's the ball. Here's the ball, and I'm rolling it. We had, first off, they're playing the, to give a little bit of context, Raw this week they're saying it's the University of Texas. My father lives in Texas, and if I'm not mistaken, that's in Austin, which is almost like, if you look at a map, almost directly in the middle of Texas. And for those of you who don't know, Jim Ross is a Oklahoma guy. And in fact, the team is called the Oklahoma Sooners or the Boomer Sooners. And there's been an eternal rivalry between Oklahoma and Texas. They're very, very passionate about their football, but specifically college football. Not professional football, although they like it, but it's very much the college football thing. So they start playing the music, and that's what they always played for JR. So I'm thinking, oh man, JR. I'm super stoked because I listen to the man's podcast. He is hilarious. And if you're wondering about it, it's on podcast1.com. There's an app on phones, stuff. Listen to it. He's amazing. I love his opinion. But no, we get Damian Sandow in an Oklahoma shirt and an Oklahoma football helmet. And now they're in Texas. Texans don't like Oklahoma to the point where anytime, if you notice, until this point, which we'll get into because we're going to talk about Jack Swagger a little bit later, but Swagger played, I believe, for the University of Oklahoma. And any other, previously, he would be in Texas, the crowd would chant, "OU sucks," which is Oklahoma University. But nevertheless, Damian Sumer Sandow comes out in Oklahoma University football gear, and he basically talks about how Oklahoma consistently dominated Texas in football, and who comes out to challenge him?
Sexual chocolate.
Yeah. Somebody gonna get the ass whooped. Somebody gonna get the wig split. The world's strongest man, Mark Henry, which I don't even know if he's still the world's strongest man. I'm gonna say maybe Cesaro is, but that's a discussion for another time and another day. So basically, touche indeed. He basically dispatches Cesaro in quite a decisive fashion. Basically, gets in the ring, world's strongest slam, bam, pin, 1, 2, 3. Oddly enough, though, Mark Henry's from Texas. I believe he's from a town called Silsbee, Texas. Did you notice, like, the lack of reaction that Mark Henry got?
Pretty much. I mean, honestly, he didn't get that much of a pop. But when he started talking about Texas, then that got the crowd going.
That's true.
You, Sandow came out, and Sandow popped and he did.
Right? And he's doing the heel thing. It was very interesting stuff. Anything you wanted to add about this particular match before we keep this ball rolling?
Nothing at this time. Let's keep it rolling, Ted.
We had a backstage segment with your boy, Adam Rose, and the Exotic Express. So this plays into my previous point. about WWE Studios. There's a backstage segment with Adam Rose and his peoples, the Exotic Express, and they're staring at the Oculus mirror. Now, from what I can gather, this is apparently a movie, WWE Studios in conjunction with another movie studio. It's a mirror that basically manifests, I don't know, worst fear or whatever, but it basically shows you some scary stuff. And of course, he's like, I don't believe in that. I'm Adam Rose. I got a lollipop. Look at me. I'm a partier. I don't know whether I'm a heel or babyface. So he looks into the mirror and he sees a lemon. He sees himself as a sellout with a suit, tie, and briefcase. This was, and I'm going down the limb here. I'd like to hear your thoughts on it. This was, and it's sad to say this, this has been the most entertaining thing I've seen him do on Raw or SmackDown. Not NXT. This low point, this terrible segment was the best thing he's done on the main shows, and that's sad. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, this was like a sorry promo, especially for anybody. But let me tell you, it was entertaining. I mean, especially with the cheesy special effects. But, I mean, honestly, it was some of the best stuff that he's done so far as promos go for WWE. But it was hilarious, though.
And you know what's funny about that, too? I kind of figured out why Adam Rose is failing. I figured it out. They're trying to turn Adam Rose into Santino. That's what's happening here. And WWE, if you're listening, please pay attention. It's not working at all. It's terrible. I like Adam Rose. I like him as Leo Kruger. I like him as Adam Rose in NXT. He recently supposedly came back to NXT, but I haven't finished that episode, so I don't know if that's the case or not. But I don't know if you know this, but according to my sources, he basically, Santino recently retired at a house show. Basically announced, I forget whether it was injury or whatever, but he's like, yeah, I'm done. And there's not been a formal announcement. So it feels like they're like, well, we need to have this comedy type of character. Let's shoehorn Adam Rose into it without actually letting him go out there and work in a match and get over, right? I mean, because like some of the guys that we enjoyed, whether it was Punk, whether it was Daniel Bryan, whether it's The Shield, those guys got over, A, because they were cool, B, they were involved in good storylines to some degree, but really because they could go out there and they could work. And they could show that they were incredible athletes in phenomenal shape, and they could put a match together that's super entertaining. We're not getting that with Adam Rose, but it makes me very, very angry. I'm not happy. I'm going to give myself whatever that word is for heartburn. I want to say angina, but I don't know if that's the case. Anyway, long story short, not good. Not good at all. We got an announcement, though, for our internet viewers, if there are any. Please, hey, love us, like, comment, subscribe, all that jazz, Facebook page, video response. WWE's network is going international, right? Starting August 12th, it's going to go to, it wasn't too clear on this, but some countries, and then like later on, I think in October, it's going to the UK and Europe. Do you think this is a good move, or do you think they should have just done this from the start?
They should have done it from the start, dude. Honestly, if you're going to be on the internet with the network, they should have gone international from day one. I don't even know how they would even limit that if it's on the internet. If you download an app or have internet access, how would they should, it should already be internet.
Yeah, and I'm in complete agreement with you. I mean, I could understand it to the point where they want to test out the servers and they want to make sure everything works before they open internationally. That kind of makes sense, but why wait almost a whole year, right? Why not just be like a month or whatever, just to work out the kinks? So that would make sense. But it's funny that you mentioned that, being that it's on the internet, and why it should be specifically locations. I have been on some message boards, And apparently, if you live outside of the continental U.S., right, basically, supposedly, I'm not advocating this, but I'm just saying that this is what I've heard from my sources, that basically, if you're if you're living outside the continental United States, and if you give them an address within the United States, it will work. That's what I've heard. I can't confirm it because I live in the United States. I'm a real American, which we'll get into that. That was fun. But yeah, so WWE Network's coming worldwide. Everybody, love the hell out of it. I hope you like it. Hey, we have a Beat the Clock challenge. And before we get into this, I have a thought that ties into this. So I'd like to quickly ask you a question. I'd like to hear your thoughts about this. Do you think that we should bring back time limits in matches? Or, like, do you think that's a possibility? Do you think it's a good thing to have? Or is this the closest we're going to get, is a Beat the Clock challenge?
This is the closest we're going to get, hands down. Let me tell you, after matches, if we don't have a winner, the crowd is cheated. The fan is cheated. So let them go as long as it takes. But in my opinion, they should.
We're missing all that goodness that you're saying. I hear it's like I'm watching a Jackie Chan movie. I'm hearing your lips moving, but the sound isn't. I can't hear you. Can you repeat your point, sir?
Okay. In my opinion, they should not bring back the time limit matches because the fan and the crowd are cheated out of a winner. Everybody wants to know who's going to be the best. So, with that said, a time challenge every once in a while is refreshing, but not time-limited matches.
I agree, but I disagree at the same time, right? So I think, see, when I listen, and the reason why I mentioned Jim Ross's podcast earlier is that this is something he talks about all the time. He thinks that every match should be time limited. I don't think that way, right? I think that's something you can do, and you can, if the match is good enough, and if the people can appreciate it. Like, I'll give you a perfect example of this. WrestleMania 12, the main event, Shawn Michaels versus Bret Hart, they legitimately wrestled an hour to a draw. And it was a pretty good match. It was not a great match, in my opinion, because obviously there's going to be a lot of rest holds, but it didn't. Looking back, I'm not saying it doesn't hold up, but it's not as exciting for me now as it was for them. But the best part of that match is when they go the full 60 minutes, and then Bret Hart's like, all right, cool, like, I get to retain my title. And then Gorilla Monsoon comes out and says, no, as per the stipulation made by Roddy Piper while I was out of action, there must be a winner. It's not one fall to a finish, but there has to be a winner. And, of course, he goes in, bam, super kick, face off, title, the boyhood dream, all that goodness. But I do believe that this is something that could be used, right? Some matches have time limits, maybe. I don't know. It's something I'm still working out with my fantasy booker magic hat. But I have a problem with the Beat the Clock challenge matches, specifically in this scenario, right? So to give our viewers a little bit of context, basically the deal was at the beginning of the show, Triple H basically booked two matches, a Beat the Clock challenge for Seth Rollins as well as Dean Ambrose. Now, Seth Rollins was scheduled to face Rob Van Dam, and Dean Ambrose, was scheduled to face Alberto Del Rio. And the idea was that Dean Ambrose would go first, and then how a Beat the Clock challenge works is the first match sets the time. It's kind of like Fear Factor, if you guys can remember that. The first guy sets the time, and you have to beat the time. So if Seth Rollins beat that match time, he gets to declare the stipulation. If not, Ambrose gets to declare that. The problem that I have with the setup, and I'll get into the problem I have with the match in a minute, is that it automatically assumes that Ambrose and Rollins are going to win their matches. right? Like it automatically operates under the assumption that Ambrose will win. I don't like that, only because it's not that there isn't any realism there, but I feel like if I don't feel as a viewer invested into the story that at any time Ambrose is going to lose that match and automatically fall to whatever Rollins' stipulation is, that's not a good thing. Am I wrong here, or am I just being an angry internet wrestling fan?
You're being an angry internet wrestling fan.
Ah, well, it happens. C'est la vie. But if you really want to hear me be an angry internet wrestling fan, it's about...
Go for it!
Ladies and gentlemen, Ambrose and Alberto Del Rio had a good match. I have a love-hate relationship or feelings towards Alberto Del Rio because sometimes when he's on, he can go. And he can have a pretty damn good match with just about anybody. I swear to God, though, if I see another Ziggler versus Del Rio match, I'm shooting off my foot. But basically, on a good night, he's great. On a bad night, he's not so great. Now, again, to give context for the match, Ambrose will win, and Ambrose has to win quickly to basically have that time advantage. Now, Ambrose comes to the ring, and he's got a taped-up shoulder. I don't know if it's his left shoulder or his right shoulder, but basically, he's got a target on his body, right? Which the commentary completely ignores that. 13 minutes... well, before I get into that, Alberto Del Rio's finisher is something called the cross arm breaker, and it's a very painful real-world move. If you slap that bad mamma jamma on someone, and if you really crank it, you're going to do one of possibly two things. One, you're going to just break the dude's elbow. Two, you might pull his shoulder out of the socket. So it's a move specifically designed to injure an arm. Okay? Follow me here. Are you with me, Papo?
I'm with you.
All right. It's a move specifically designed to damage an arm. Right? Ambrose comes in. He's got an injured arm. It isn't until 13 friggin' minutes into the match that he actually starts working the arm. And this, I literally screamed at my television, and I'm sure my neighbors heard it. If you're going into the match with someone who's injured and your move would perfectly take advantage of that injury, why would you wait 13 minutes? It's almost like whoever's on the headset in the back, someone told the referee, hey, wait a minute, remind Alberto Del Rio that his finish is a cross arm breaker and he needs to work the arm. And he didn't even really work the arm. He did three things, right? He took off the tape, he threw him into the turnbuckle, and then I think he did something else, but he didn't even really work the arm. And maybe I'm getting spoiled because I'm going back and watching all this NWA stuff where guys would legitimately, they're going to pick a body part and they're going to work it over and over and over and over and over again. And then the babyface is going to sell it like it's really injured. But that didn't happen until 13 minutes in. Spoilers, the match only went on for another 2 minutes and 40 seconds left, okay, or afterwards. So that's how, presentation-wise, that shows you how little Alberto Del Rio cared about winning this match, which just bothered the hell out of me as an angry internet wrestling fan. But Ambrose gets him with the dirty deeds with the other arm. A pretty good match, except for the fact that Alberto stopped smoking crack. You're a professional wrestler, I'm not. You should know this shit. I shouldn't have to tell you how to do your job, damn it. You've been doing this for a long time. You've probably been doing it for as long as I've been watching it. Anything else that you care to add about this particular match before we get into the next segment of the show?
Well, in regarding the Del Rio thing, I am in total agreement. I mean, usually when he's on, he's on. I think that arm is going to hurt, regardless if he wins or not. And 2 minutes left of the match, he starts working the arm. I mean, again, that shows him out of context. So I'm an A, just like you, angry fan.
Good. I'm not alone. We're together. We're like this. Anyway, we got a Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella hype video. Basically, the story up till now is that after Daniel Bryan won the WWE World Heavyweight Championship, he feuded with Kane for a short period of time at Extreme Rules, and he got a point where Brie slaps Stephanie because Stephanie is trying to help, and every time she tries to help, she only hurts, right? So she puts her hands on Stephanie. Then months later, it ensues, and she's like, well, you can either quit your job, and I forget what the other stipulation is, but basically she was like, no, I'm going to quit my job so Daniel Bryan doesn't have to forfeit the title. Then she shows up at a random Raw to support her sister while her sister's getting beat down by the ladies, the delicious Alicia Fox and whoever the hell those other two useless, terrible women professional wrestlers are. Eva Marie, you know I'm talking about you. You're terrible. You're terrible. I hated you before. Now that I watch Total Divas, you're awful. Get the hell off my WWE. Terrible. And whoever that other person is, I don't know. That shows you how important she is to the TV product. Love the Divas. Love the Divas that can go in there and actually work and have a good match, such as Paige, AJ Lee, Natalya, Charlotte, spoiler, Ric Flair's daughter, which is not a spoiler because that's me being a dick because that's part of her gimmick. Bayley, these are girls in NXT. Emma. There's a number of them. They're great. But then there's like a number of like model girls that really aren't wrestlers and never really learned to wrestle. I'm talking about you, Eva Marie. You know I'm talking about you. Quit your job. I hate you. I hate you. Look at me cutting a promo on a woman. What a terrible person I am. Anyway. So that's pretty much that. Basically, last week, if you don't know, hey, go back and watch the last couple weeks. We covered all this. Long story short, we got a match between Stephanie McMahon and Brie Bella at SummerSlam. Rolling right along, we have a match announced, Rusev with Lana versus Sin Cara. This match was literally so fast that Rusev comes to the ring, they go to commercial, they come back, Rusev won the match. It's one of those things that they try to get you to watch the show as a second screen experience on the app, which I actually don't like, only because that takes my attention away from what I'm watching. And it's not like I'm engaging in commercials or anything, but I'm one screen at a time, please. Like right now, my printer's out of ink, and I'm reading my notes off my iPad, and it's hella distracting looking at the webcam and the iPad on two different devices. So don't ask me to whip out my phone and app. I just can't. Did you see any of this match?
No, I didn't.
All right, well, it probably wasn't worth watching anyway.
And then I remember a lot of talking about, was it Barack Obama's birthday? That's about it. And I was like, I'm gonna go take a lake.
Yeah, and it happened so fast, we didn't even actually get to see Sin Cara's entrance, right? Rusev came out first, and then like, oh shit, it's over. Go figure, right? Then she basically cuts a promo on Barack H. Obama, President, our Supreme Leader, whatever the hell you want to call him. Basically cuts a promo on him. She sings Happy Birthday to him Russian, which I don't understand how singing Happy Birthday gets heat. If not Russian, like I know that the Texas crowd was angry. I would like to believe that it was because they weren't speaking English, because I'm a big fan of the get heat by not speaking English. I'm not one of those fortunate people who is multilingual, if you will. I only speak American. American. Which, by the way, we're the people. So she's shooting hard on Barack Obama, singing Happy Birthday in Russian. Crowd doesn't like it. USA chants. USA, USA, USA. We the people. Jack Swagger, Zeb Coulter, they come out. They basically cut a Real American promo, right? And they're like, hey, real Americans, single mothers, dads working 2 jobs, firefighters, police, EMTs, men and women in uniform. Basically, America. And I was very happy with that. Not that I'm one of those blindly patriotic people, but you know what? It's nice to feel a little patriotic here and there, especially when you're wary of your government. But that's just me and I'm sure the Illuminati's listening and they're going to come get me. But aside from that, we got a flag match at SummerSlam. For those of you who don't know, it's basically on two ends of the ring, there's a flag, and Papo, correct me if I'm wrong, because I haven't seen a flag match in whenever the last time I saw something on a pole match. I'm tempted to say it was Earthquake in WCW, formerly the Shark from the Dungeon of Doom. There was something on a pole. Do you know the stipulation of a flag match? Because I don't know whether to scratch my watch or wind my butt.
Honestly, I'm really not sure on the stipulations of this match. I believe there was a flag match back in the 80s. I believe it had to do with Nikolai Volkov, but I could be wrong.
Oh,
so
I love Nikolai Volkov.
Oh, yeah. But as of right now for the flag on a pole match, I'm really not sure. If you know, please comment down below. I'll send something out on Facebook. And you got me stuck on stupid on this full flag on a pole match. So
I'm assuming it's the wrestling equivalent of capture the flag, except you're grabbing your own flag. I'm assuming, and maybe I'm wrong, but I'm just thinking it as whatever on a pole match. Could be wrong, could be wrong. So long as it's not. Oh God, was it Buff Bagwell's mom on a pole in WCW? Didn't they have a Judy Bagwell on a pole match or something like that?
I don't recall that match at all, dude. Honestly,
it's probably because Buff Bagwell is such a terrible wrestler. He now moonlights as a gigolo. Real talk, that's the truth. Buff Bagwell is awful, and I know this is an opinion show, but that's not an opinion. That's a fact. Buff Bagwell, buff the stuff, awful, awful. And you can disagree with me in the comments down below, but you're wrong. Buff Bagwell was terrible. Although he was in a decent tag team when they were like, hey, he's Sting's protege, and I forget, American Males with Scotty Riggs. That was an okay tag team. But moving on, too much WCW talk. This is not Turner Broadcasting. So, we get a We the People chant. Where all real Americans in the building stand up in a loud, clear voice, say, we the people. Is this the loudest We the People we've ever heard?
It was a nasty pop. I heard it from the bathroom.
Damn. Yeah, man, it was loud, right? And they're also in Texas, which is perfect. Which is funny because I had mentioned that every other time in my memory that Jack Swagger comes in Texas, they chant, oh, you sucks. This is the only time that they didn't do that to him, which was really, really nice. So, of course, post-match shenanigans, Rusev beats Swagger. I'm fairly confident that Swagger's going to win this match. If not, I guess they're going to go to a best of 3 or whatever, or best of 7, best of 5, whatever. I miss those types of matches, but nonetheless, that was pretty much that. They corner Zev in the ring, and Swagger's out on the outside, knocked out, and they're basically like, no, we're going to get you at SummerSlam, and We the People. Then we had Dolph Ziggler versus Cesaro. Now, you had mentioned before the show that you got up to do something, and you missed this match, right?
Yeah.
It was literally shorter than the match that happened during the commercial break. Basically, for those watching and listening, the match starts. Dolph Ziggler versus Cesaro. We had Hollywood Miz on commentary. Basically, Ziggler, remember, he's the #1 contender for the Intercontinental title. And Ziggler, the match starts, and right away, within about 10 seconds into the match, he goes for a small package. Cesaro, being the crazy super Swiss Superman, whatever the hell he is able to take Ziggler's attempt in a small package, and all Cesaro's strength is able to lift him up in a kind of like a stalling vertical suplex. And I'm thinking, geez, he's strong. But then Ziggler kind of does this thing where he kind of slides out of the suplex and behind, zigzag, 1, 2, 3, Miz comes in, trying to talk some nonsense, and Ziggler goes to super kick him, and Miz is like, not in the face. And he jumps down, and that was that. Now, we got a backstage interview with my girl Paige. Papo, what do you think about Paige?
Paige, honestly, I mean, she's proven that she can go. But she still has to pay some dues. She's still rookie in WWE, and she needs to pay her dues. I mean, she's premier match with her. We've gone over this show after show after show. But let me tell you right now, I mean, the beef between her and AJ is getting quite entertaining, and I'm actually digging this because they're like the best frenemies ever.
Oh, it's awesome, right? Yeah, it's super.
Yeah.
You're not wrong, man. It's super entertaining, and normally when I watch Divas feuds, right? Like I'm really into women on NXT, only because they give these girls like 10+ minute matches where they can just go, right? And it's a different atmosphere. Now, for those of you watching and listening, you hear me talk about NXT a lot. This is not to be confused with the original version of NXT, which was kind of like the reality show where you had the original Nexus. The original, as if there are multiple well, there were multiple. Anyway, I'm getting off on a tangent here. Basically, NXT is formerly Florida Championship Wrestling, and they've converted this into a mini WWE show. The difference is, and for those of you watching it, if you know anything about NXT, please comment down below. But in my opinion, the difference is that basically NXT is a pro wrestling show, whereas Raw and SmackDown are sports entertainment shows, meaning that NXT is driven by wrestling. There's backstage interviews and there's promos, but they're very, very short because the focus is on wrestling. Whereas in the main shows, every week we get a 20-minute promo and just talk and talk and talk and talk and talk. And of course, we got to fill 3 friggin' hours of TV, which we don't need, but they have been getting a lot better, so it's been less of a pain for me to watch and sit through 3 hours. So, yes, Paige, really good in NXT. By the way, she is actually a second-generation wrestler, surprisingly, which they never mention. And she's not the only one. There's actually a couple people that they've had over the years that were multiple-generation wrestlers that they just never even acknowledge, which I don't even understand why you wouldn't do that. But basically, yeah, the reason why I mentioned NXT here is they have their matches, it's super competitive, it's super entertaining, and the matches drive the feuds. Whereas on the main shows, the feuds drive the matches. And that's the big difference here. So to see a Divas feud on the main show and me really getting into it, it's a rare thing, and it's something that's very new, and it's started in the past couple of years, so I'm very, very excited. But yeah, man, they're doing this frenemy gimmick to the best of their ability, and I love it. How excited, because we've been talking about this for weeks, how excited were you that we got to see the Dust Brothers in action tonight? Or Monday, rather, excuse me.
All I got to say is it's about time. Waiting for all these promos for the last couple of weeks to see them wrestle. And let me tell you, they were in real form. The Bizarre One and his younger brother, Stardust, let me go ahead and say that they put on an awesome match. They flowed very well together, and let me tell you, they had the crowd going, and just overall, it's like been so tweaked. He's not in the same moveset that he was. I mean, usually when somebody bends over, then they drop to the knee and punch him in his face. Stardust, he drops and kicks him in his face, and I was like, that was awesome. And let me tell you, it was an awesome match, and it's about time. Let him go ahead and get that cosmic key they're talking about. Ted, your thoughts?
Yeah. Oh, man, I loved it. The only thing that disappointed me is that we didn't get to see how good Ryback is, right? I love the Bizarre One. I've loved Goldust for forever. I've loved Cody for forever. But I always felt that Cody was a guy that, in my opinion, if I ran the show, if I was wearing the magical fantasy booker hat, Cody would have already had a world title. Okay? Multiple times. Because I believe he is that good. The problem is, for some reason, he just hasn't been able to get over. And on paper, this gimmick would be terrible for anybody else. But for Cody, this is going to be the thing that gets him to the next level. Because in my opinion, and we've mentioned this before, but basically, here's what I think is going to happen. They're going to get the tag titles. They're going to lose the tag titles. It's going to lead to a brother versus brother match at WrestleMania, which will be the third, and you heard it here, I'm predicting it, brother versus brother. This will be the third ever brother versus brother match at WrestleMania, as we had with 10 with Brett and Owen, which I believe Brett did double duty that night, and he also wrestled Yokozuna. And then we had Matt versus Jeff Hardy, which was pretty good. And I'm tempted to say that was WrestleMania 24, 25-ish, somewhere around there. Anyway, it was really good. But I dig the brother versus brother feud, right? I just think that that's money, and people can relate to that. Even though I don't have any brothers, if I did, I'd beat the snot out of them because I'd be like, hey, I'm your brother. And apparently that's a thing that brothers do. But like I mentioned, the one thing that disappoints me is the fact that Curtis Axel and Ryback are just so good. They're so good, but they're subtle, right? And when you put them in the ring with Goldust, they're so good at doing what they do, you can't even appreciate how good they are, right? Because I don't even know how to explain it, but they're basically going to be outshined by the Dust Brothers every single time. So people aren't going to notice just how good that team is. And did you notice in the beginning of the match where Goldust gave him like reverse atomic drop 1, reverse atomic drop 2, and he went to do it again to Ryback, and Ryback was like, no, don't knee me in the balls with that move. It was great, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, really, really good. And I'm with you because we've mentioned it here before. Cody is completely dedicated to the character to where he's tweaked his moveset just a little bit. So although Cody is similar to Goldust, at the same time, they have similar moves, but different. Like you mentioned, the drop. Also, when Cody would do the springboard drop kick, now he does the springboard elbow, which is very reminiscent of Dusty. And by the way, for those of you who don't know historical content, Stardust was a name that his father used way back in the day. So if you want to impress your friends, he'd be like, hey, I know he wrestled as Stardust. But basically, it was really, really good, and I love that. I'm going to say it's an inverted / modified Russian leg sweep STO type thing. I don't know what it is, but it looks really cool. Short but awesome match. Anything else that you wanted to talk about that before we come into... Oh, no, wait, we kind of went over that already. The Triple H and Stephanie where they had a backstage segment. They're talking about whatever the hell they're talking about. Kane comes in, literally walks in, takes off his mask. He doesn't even do it on camera. He takes his mask off just outside of the frame, and then hands it to them. Do you have an opinion on if this signifies anything specifically with the mask coming off, or they're just, I don't know. What are your thoughts on this?
In my thoughts, Kane's going on vacation and probably come back hopefully as a big red team or corporate Kane. Just hope he doesn't come back as the Demon Kane.
Oh, you know,
that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, I'm with you. So moving on, we had a match. It was Chris Jericho versus Luke Harper. Now, the background for this match is apparently, and I missed this week's SmackDown, but they referenced it in the show, is that on SmackDown, this previous SmackDown, Chris Jericho had a match with Eric Rowan. And the deal was that if he beat Eric Rowan would be essentially banned from ringside for the SummerSlam match, which essentially sets up Chris Jericho versus Luke Harper for this week. If Jericho wins, Harper will also be banned from SummerSlam. What did you think about this match?
And it was actually done pretty well. I mean, it was very entertaining. It had my attention. And let me tell you, Harper, he can go. That's your boy. And he can go. Jericho, we both know can go with anybody. And let me tell you, they put on an awesome match. Went back for Harper showed his strength, his agility. But Chris came out on top with the code breaker. Excellent match. Your thoughts, Ted?
Oh, yeah, no, I couldn't agree with you more. It was a really good match. And it kind of played up the size difference. Because Chris Jericho is like about 6 feet with his boots on. I think he's closer to like 5'10", 5'11". And then you have Luke Harper, and I'm going to say he's probably like legit 6'6". He is a big man. But I've always been a fan of big guys in pro wrestling. But more importantly, big guys that don't necessarily wrestle like big guys. Some guys it works for, some guys it doesn't. But Luke Harper's amazing. And I've said it 100 times, and I'm a huge, huge Y2J mark. I'm a Jerichoholic. I'm a believer in the Paragon of Virtue, which, by the way, of all of his monikers, that's one he never brought over from WCW, and I really wish he did. I'd love to see a Paragon of Virtue Chris Jericho. Anyway, God, I watched too much WCW. Yeah, no, this was awesome. Yeah, this was awesome. And by the way, I mentioned WCW. They are very soon bringing on the Nitros. All the Nitros, which is going to be very, very cool because I've been wondering when they're going to do that, which hopefully means that we're also going to get that actual Monday Night Wars show. So I'm very excited. Or Wars, singular, not plural. But yeah, no, they had a really great match. So basically, Y2J, let's see here, I'm just going over my notes. So Y2J gets Luke Harper in the walls of Jericho, which is not to be confused with a lion tamer, which there was a time when I was a big mark for the walls, but now I'm kind of reversing my original thoughts on that. Now I just wish he would start using the lion tamer again, just because the walls is really just a Boston crab. And the lion tamer is a Boston crab, except he sticks the knee on the guy's neck, and he doesn't sit down on the back. He kind of like stands as he does it. It's super painful looking, and maybe that's why he doesn't do it, because it's super painful. He did do it to Triple H, though, when he tore his quad, and I think that may have been one of the last few times that he did it. If I'm wrong, comment down below. So he puts him in the walls. Lights go out. The Wyatt sound thing, cricket image on the screen happens. Comes back on, and exactly, yeah, and comes back on. Bray Wyatt's at ringside. Rowan slides into the ring. Codebreaker to Rowan. Codebreaker to Harper. Bray jumps in. Ref rings the bell. Now, I don't know why he rung the bell just for Bray jumping in, because Eric Rowan did it. He didn't ring the bell, but as soon as Bray came out, oh, damn it, ring the bell. Are you, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts about this, because he does hit him with Sister Abigail, and we're not going to do that because we've talked about how awesome that move is. Question. Trying to think of the best way to word this. I love it when they do the lights go out, lights come back on spot. Is that a thing that they should do more often? Because that's a thing that really, I don't want to say pioneered, but done mostly in ECW, just because they didn't have massive production values. So, like lights go off, lights come on, Sabu.
Yeah.
How do you feel about the lights go on, lights go off, someone's there gimmick?
Well, it's classic wrestling entertainment. I mean, it gives that sense of surprise because you never know who's going to come up, and everybody's expecting whoever's they're rivaling with at that time out. So, I mean, it adds a sense of drama to our man drama, if you will. I totally dig it. I mean, anything could happen when the lights go out.
Yeah, I pop for it every time. One of these days, I'm waiting for the lights to go out and Sting to be in the ring. All my money. Just take my money, WWE. Please do this. This Sting just shows up with a bat and full crow out. Oh, we could do Surfer Sting. I'm down with Surfer Sting, although he may be like 30 years too old for that. But so that was that. Setting up the feud. Chris Jericho wins by disqualification because Bray Wyatt interfered. That means that at SummerSlam, Chris Jericho goes one-on-one with Bray Wyatt. I don't know how much of that I believe, because we've seen instances where whether it was a cage, whether it was elimination chamber, things that would keep the Wyatts out but ultimately don't keep the Wyatts out. I'm going to say, and I'm on record as saying this, they should bring back an old gimmick from the NWA. God, I watched too much WCW. Back from the NWA, where they would put someone, they used to do this with Kevin Sullivan, they did it with, excuse me, with J.J. Dillon, where they would basically put the guy, hey, we're professionals. They would put him in a cage. And they'd lift the cage above the ring. So there's no way in hell that they were getting out, so we could actually get a resolution to the conflict. Anyway, that's my thoughts. Bring back the mini cage, lift them above the ring, super entertaining, blah, 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 blah. Hey, we had an interesting match, and I want to hear your thoughts on this, because we had the debut of a new dancer for Fandango. We had Diego with El Torito, Summer Rae, and Layla versus Fandango. And I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm going to say Horndango. How's that?
Good. That's awesome.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you do not know what I'm talking about, Hornswoggle, bald head and everything, comes out as a mini Fandango. Dances with him, and it was hilarious. Had I had a bladder full of liquid, I would have peed myself. That's how funny it was. Very short match, right? Diego wins with a backstabber. Is Diego Primo or Epico?
I have no idea which one is which. They wear masks now, and they're matadors. Yay. Go ahead.
Yeah. WWE, please bring back Carlito. I want him in the face of people who are not cool. Yes, we got backstabber, and then Summer Rae. Summer Rae basically take little mini Fandango, Horndango, away from Fandango, and he has them dance with them. Seemingly, they repair the bad feelings between Hornswoggle and El Torito. It goes back to the WLC match they had, and I'm struggling to remember which pay-per-view it was. I think it was either Extreme Rules or Payback. Pretty sure it was Extreme Rules. No, that's right, Extreme Rules, then Payback. But basically, he takes them away from Fandango to Fandango just loses his mind and assaults the little person, which I don't even know if that's the proper nomenclature. Little person, midget, dwarf. I don't want to be offensive, but I just don't know anymore. I don't know. So here's a question for those of you watching, and we want you to comment down below. Also go to the Facebook page. Let us know, who do you think should be Fandango's dance partner next week? Because I don't know about you, Papo. It should be his new gimmick. I think every week he should come out with a new dance partner, and every week the dance partner should just leave to join with Fandango and Layla, and then every week that group just gets bigger and bigger. And my suggestion, as much as I hate him as far as his in-ring ability, would be the Great Khali. Could you imagine the Great Khali coming out in just a Punjabi Fandango gimmick where he's trying to do the dancing? It would be hilarious.
I could definitely see that being entertaining, especially him being big for no reason. While they're I would definitely pay to see that. That would be so awesome.
All right. And that's pretty much that. Moving on, we got a backstage interview in the locker room with Renee Young and Randy Orton. It wasn't worth talking about, so moving right along. Hey, I'm not even going to bother to ask. So I'm just going to go on record. I'm still a believer, streak or no streak. Bo Dallas has a match with R-Truth. It's apparently his third match because R-Truth beat him on Raw last week, broke the streak, and then according to the commentary team, he went again on SmackDown, which means that it went from 17-1 to 17-2. Here, Bo Dallas kind of wins on with a dirty move, right? He rolls up, and normally this would be holding the tights, but in R-Truth's case, holding the jeans, if you will. He basically gets him in a roll-up from behind and then holds the jeans, gets the win. I had an idea, and this is with my magical fantasy booker hat on, what would you think? And people watching, listening, comment down below. Let us know what you think on this topic as well. Also, go to the Facebook page. What would you think if Bo Dallas had a gimmick where anytime he lost a match to someone, if he beat them, he would get that loss back? So, for example, right now he's 17-2, right? He beats R-Truth. And let's say he acknowledges that removes a loss. So now he's back to 17-1, and then he beats him again. Then he's 17-0. What would you think about a gimmick where he basically just denies that he's losing, and he can just take off those losses and just go back to being undefeated? Like having a candy bar and eating a Diet Coke, how they cancel each other out.
Yeah. That was so awesome. I mean, honestly, I would actually start to be a believer if they took that route.
Wait a minute.
Because that is right there.
You mean to tell me
your fancy booker hat on?
You mean to tell me that you would believe?
I would start to believe if they took that gimmick. If they took that, I'm going to erase a loss. I'm saying it here, live, on this webcam, on my show. If they take that gimmick, I will state that I am a believer.
Ladies and gentlemen, you are witnesses. Witnesses to that statement right there. That man, I have a feeling that this may be the route that they're going, but whatever would have you, that was pretty much it. Oh, no, they had a wicked, he had this, basically the match ends, right? He beats R-Truth. R-Truth doesn't like the fact that he cheated, and R-Truth is a sore loser. Sore loser. Shame on you, R-Truth. Basically starts beating up on poor Bo Dallas after he won, right? And Bo Dallas did this cool thing. He's been doing this move called the Bo Dog, which is basically gets the dude in a Bo Dog kind of clutch, if you will, and then basically does the whatever Trish Stratus called it. Trish Stratus did the same thing. It wasn't the Stratisfaction, but the springboard bulldog thing, jobby in the corner, whatever would have you.
We know.
We know. But he does it using the stairs, and it was really impressive. So, moving on, we got a Bray Wyatt promo by himself on the Tron in darkness, which made it super intimidating, and he's been doing that Jake the Snake gimmick where he starts speaking real quiet and just kind of forces you to pay more attention. Yeah, that was pretty much that. Enough said. I think he said something like, "Why do the sheep always never run from the wolf?" I actually wasn't that interested because I had other things to do when I was typing on my computer. Notes. We got a replay of the earlier Brock vs. Cena SummerSlam video that we had, in my humble opinion, the most entertaining match of the night, which says a lot because there were some really entertaining matches on this show. It's the Beat the Clock Challenge versus, it's scheduled to be RVD versus Seth Rollins. Papa, what'd you think about this match?
Well, honestly, I found this match extremely entertaining. Let me tell you, they had a little banter, and I saw RVD come out, and I was like, all right, cool. These guys met before, and I was ready for a good match between RVD and Rollins, because we stated in past shows that these two can go. And then all of a sudden, who comes to the mic?
Oh, yeah.
Your friend.
The one-man band, baby! I don't know about you, but I popped.
I thought he was going to job, dude, for real.
And you know what's funny? We've talked about this before, about that schoolboy roll-up, right? A roll-up victory or a small package is perfect for someone who has no business winning that match, right? That's the perfect thing to do. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, the match is scheduled to be RVD versus Seth Rollins, and RVD is wearing some sort of honeycomb print or cheetah, whatever the hell it is, on his singlet. Looked really cool. But just before the match starts, Justin Roberts gets on the microphone. He says, "Ladies and gentlemen, Rob Van Dam will not be Seth's opponent." I don't know why. I don't know if this is like a health issue or whatever. But basically, instead, it's going to be the one-man band Heath Slater. So it's Seth Rollins versus Heath Slater. Now, basically, the match starts, and Jesus, I'm talking too much about WCW, but I see the match starting, and I'm expecting a finger poke of doom. Ladies and gentlemen, what I'm referring to is a match where Kevin Nash and Hulk Hogan were scheduled to face each other, and Hulk Hogan just poked Kevin Nash in the chest, and Kevin Nash just fell down, covered him for the 1, 2, 3, and I believe this was also repeated with the terrible, terrible Jeff Jarrett. That's right. I'm not a fan of the double J, a double R, E, a double T. Can't stand them. But basically, I'm expecting that. What happens is Rollins tells Slater to just leave the ring and get counted out. And you see this conflict, right? This internal struggle where Heath Slater's like trying to balance what he's being told versus how he feels. And he decides, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to have the match. And he starts fighting back. And then, and which is, I think this is a face turn for Slater because he's been kind of a heel. Who shows up? Your boy, Mr. Unhinged, Mr. Lunatic Fringe himself, Dean Ambrose. How excited were you to see Dean Ambrose show up for this match?
I was excited when I saw him pull up, and he played the perfect spot for that match. He grabs the briefcase, opens it up, tears up the contract, and then proceeds in putting it back, grabs a Coke from the audience and popcorn, pours both the Coke and popcorn into the briefcase. Then grabs JBL's hat, puts it in the briefcase, shuts it, and then lifts it over his head while standing on the table.
Totally forgot a spot.
Distracting Rollins.
Don't forget that he put the hat on and kind of did like a cowboy kind of saunter.
Oh, he did. He did a little jig.
Yeah. And the whole time he's doing this, every time he does this, there's a roll up by Ambrose, right? So he, or not Ambrose, Slater. So Ambrose distracts Rollins. Rollins is like yelling at him. Slater gets a near fall. And then it happens again, near fall. And then again, near fall. And I'm sitting here and I'm like, he's going to win his match with a roll up. It's just going to happen. So you're right.
It was going to happen.
Oh, yeah. And it was a beautiful thing. So Ambrose, like you said, he takes the Coca-Cola. Well, no, first he takes up the contract and just rips it up, and I loved it, right? Because we talked about this before, how these guys could feud for like a whole year without ever actually having a match, and it would still be super entertaining, just because the story and the drama is so present, so important between those two characters because it's personal. Right? If it's not for a title, a feud's got to be personal to make you buy into it. These two guys really hate each other, and so the whole time he's basically like doing it. My wife said he was doing it like he had that little look on the face that a little kid does when you say, "Don't you do that," and the little kid looks at you and just like, "I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it," and he did. Right? So like everything he did, he was just trying to get a reaction out of Rollins, and every time Rollins was like, "You stop doing that. You leave my stuff alone." And he was like, "I'm going to do this, and I'm going to do this." Just basically like, I don't care if you ever cash this thing in because I'm just going to prevent you from doing it. So all that happens, Coca-Cola in the briefcase, popcorn in the briefcase, cowboy hat in the briefcase, closes the briefcase. He stands on the commentary table with it, and the Coca-Cola is like spilling out because the briefcase isn't watertight. And like JBL and Michael Cole and King, and they're like, "Oh, the Coca-Cola's coming out of the briefcase." So he does that, keeps distracting him. All of a sudden, roll up by Heath Slater. 1, 2, 3. Ladies and gentlemen, the curse has been broken. Heath Slater is no longer jobber, a la Mr. Brooklyn Brawler. He's actually got a win. And I'm excited about this because I think he's amazing, and I think he's criminally underrated. But the whole point of this match was that the winner of the Beat the Clock Challenge gets to name the stipulation for the match. I don't know what I'd like to see. I think I'd like to see a cage match or a Hell in a Cell. I'm not sure. Papo, any thoughts on what you'd like that stipulation to be?
Honestly, I believe it may be for the briefcase, but if you have any other thoughts, comment down below. I'm thinking it's going to be for the briefcase.
That's not a bad idea. That's not a bad idea, but I don't want that to happen. I just want Rollins to never cash that briefcase in. Just to make it interesting, right? Because everybody cashes in, win or lose. So I think that he should just never get a chance. That Ambrose should just cut him off every single time, and just prevent that from happening. So he can be the only guy that just never even got the cash in. But I'd like to see a 3 Stages of Hell match because we haven't seen that in forever. And for those of you watching and listening who don't know what that is, it's basically a 2 out of 3 falls match, except each fall is a different match stipulation. So, for example, a first stage of Hell regular match, second stage of Hell would maybe be a Falls Count Anywhere match, anything goes, and third stage maybe like a Hell in a Cell or a ladder match. But those are my thoughts. As Papo mentioned, please comment down below. Let us know what you'd like that stipulation to be. Hey, last thing. The actual main event, just like last week, was a
contract signing.
A contract signing, a non-match. Long and the short of it is Stephanie and Brie signing a contract for their match at SummerSlam. Your thoughts?
I mean, honestly, it had lackluster, but to the end, where after the signing, it was a heavy slap from Stephanie McMahon slapping Brie. Well, actually, no, she didn't slap Brie. She slapped Nikki.
Yeah. That's
and then
right.
Triple H intervened.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he like took the table and like trapped Brie in the corner.
That was awesome. I would say that it was awesome because I started to laugh. That was so fun because she was stuck in a chair at a desk. And what do we do all day for work?
Exactly, man. Except that was entertaining.
So we know her pain.
That's true, man. That's so true. And then, hey, man, Stephanie, and I know she's competed before. I don't even know what her finisher is. How cool is it that she hit not only Nikki, but Brie with a pedigree, which, by the way, were damn good-looking pedigrees.
Definitely rare form. It was a nice pedigree on both ends. She's been practicing, so she should actually look really well at the pay-per-view.
Yeah. I just hope her tits don't look funny like they did a couple weeks ago, where like they have this weird thing. Yeah, that was so weird. So weird and uncomfortable. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm making a prediction here. It's an opinion show. Magic Fantasy Booker hat. I think we are going to get a heel turn out of Nikki. I said it last week. I'm saying it again. I think it's either going to happen at SummerSlam or the Monday Night Raw afterwards. I don't know why. I'm just feeling it. But, Papo, lest we forget, we've got some other business to talk about.
Yeah, last week I posted on Facebook, what was your favorite finisher? We got a few hits back. I'm actually bringing up them now as we speak. We got the first one we got from Nikki Flintz, where Sean, thank you for liking the page. Her favorite move was an RKO, aka the cutter. And I said,
what's that?
Your thoughts on the RKO?
Oh, it's awesome. I like the original Diamond Cutter. I think that's a version of the Ace Crusher, which Johnny Laurinaitis used to use in Japan. I love it. I love any move that can just come out of nowhere at any point. Plus, Randy is so smooth in the ring when he does it. It's just awesome. And we had the same thing with DDP again. I just can't stop talking about WCW tonight, where he would use that as a diamond cutter. Yeah, I love it. That's an amazing finish. And you can put it on anybody practically at any point in time.
Definitely. The next finishing move we got out there was from Jersey Born, a.k.a. Brian. He put in the tombstone. Now, Brian is an Undertaker fan. Ever since I've known him, and right now the tombstone is a nasty finisher. But honestly, at times it could be lack of luster, but still an effective move. And then right now we're going to move on to John Rambo.
Can I interject here for a moment? I'm a big fan of the tombstone as well. Two people use the tombstone that I'm aware of, and I'll make this very, very quick. The Undertaker and Kane. I'm probably going to say something that's a little unpopular here. I like Kane's tombstone a little bit better. The reason why is that if you ever watch Kane's tombstone is that there's a snap to it. So when he does it, guy drops, bam, then body goes down. Whereas the Undertaker's kind of slow and deliberate, whereas Kane looks like he just killed somebody. But yeah, no, tombstone's awesome.
Okay. Well, moving right along for John Rambo Ramlotion. He put on for his favorite move, the Sweet Chin Music, a.k.a. Super Kick. Now, we have multiple wrestlers that use this move. I mean, I've seen it used as a regular repertoire move where they don't even get a finisher out. Some are more effective than others. I mean, it's an okay move, but again, people use it just to use it in their repertoire. Your thoughts on a Super Kick?
Yeah, I mean it's really just like a step over sidekick, and Shawn Michaels does it the best, even though like in the real world that's the worst looking sidekick ever. And I'm sure you'll agree with me on that. But yeah, no, I love it. I think it's one of those moves that gets overused, kind of like the DDT. But I will say that the sickest, most disgusting, brutal-looking Sweet Chin Music I have ever seen was one random episode of Raw. It was Shawn Michaels versus Shelton Benjamin. And please bring Shelton Benjamin back, the gold standard, love him. He basically goes for a springboard from the apron, and you might know what I'm talking about. He springboards in the air, and Shawn Michaels just, bam, super kicks him. And he just killed him. It's amazing. Gotta love it.
I'm in concurrence with that. Okay. Well, moving right along with famous finishers, we have Suzanne Gardner, our favorite, and she put on there. Favorite move is the rock bottom. Now, initially with the rock bottom, it wasn't a lift up; it was just a straight slam to the floor with basically a foot sweep to the back, followed through the ground. And then he totally implemented where he'll hook, lift up, and drop. Now, there's a few other wrestlers that have implemented this move. Bret Wyatt at one. We have Booker T as the bookend. And then I've seen different variations where they actually turned it into a backbreaker. I forgot who did that one. But the rock bottom is a definitely solid finisher. Your thoughts?
My only thought on that is that Suzanne, I know you're listening. Shame on you for not saying the people's elbow. That's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. Well, please look at the Facebook page. I'll be posting something this evening. Please answer, like, comment. And that's all I got for the Facebook page.
You didn't say yours.
Oh. My favorite finishing move is the Texas Cloverleaf.
Ooh, that's a good one.
Dean Malenko.
Hell yeah. I didn't see that one coming. That's a really good one. Damn. Oh, man. See, I thought you were going to do my work for me. I had two picked out. And I thought you were going to pick one of my two.
Go ahead.
My second pick, if you weren't going to pick the first one, would have been Cesaro's Neutralizer, just because he can put it on anybody. When you do it to Mark Henry and Big Show, it's just impressive. But my favorite finisher is the Pedigree. Just because
Very
it's
nice.
awesome. And it's topical because we got to see it tonight. Papo, we're running out of things to talk about. What are we going to talk about next week?
Well, I'm going to post on the Facebook page people's favorites. What is your favorite theme music? Out of all the wrestlers, please comment. I'm going to post it in just a few minutes. Theme music. And we'll definitely get to that next week.
Definitely, I'm with you on that. Peoples, like, comment, subscribe, go to the Facebook page, participate in the discussion. We will give you shout-outs on the show. Also, hey, you know what? Post a video response. Tell us if you like the show. I don't have anything else to add. I look forward to talking to you guys next week. I may have some additional stuff, maybe a little bit of highlights from NXT or a SmackDown because I'm catching up. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ted, and that is...
Papo!
We want to thank you very much for tuning in. Please join us next week. New videos up every Wednesday. Thank you. You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Drive safe and keep both feet on the wheels. Good night, everybody.
Good night.